Hey everybody, and welcome to the weekly Scopes from the 17th to the 23rd of March 2024. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly Scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly Scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic constellational astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic constellation astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes, and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs and the Western signs shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees, 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year, and Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox, adjusting for the shift in the position of the equinoxes over time. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So yeah, as I said, Western astrology uses specific dates, so every year, regardless of where the sun actually is at the sky, the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th of February. So yeah, this discrepancy, this misalignment between the tropical zodiac and the actual positions of the constellations has led to a discrepancy between Vedic astrology and Western astrology. So I consider the actual where the sun and the moon are and where Mars and Venus are at any given time, and this is how I formulate these sort of like weekly scopes. So yeah, thanks for listening to this, and let's dive into this week's weekly scope. On the 17th of March, the moon's north node goes stationary retrograde. The moon also enters its first quarter moon phase, and the sun makes a conjunction with Neptune. So positively, this energy allows us to review, reflect on our past choices and actions and words in our life, and doing so can help us gain valuable insight that can allow us to grow on the psychological, emotional and spiritual levels. This energy kind of supports us in letting go of old patterns, especially thought and behaviour and relationship patterns that no longer serve you, allowing you to make room for more positive routines and relationships and attitudes in your life. Negatively, we can become rest us because there can just be a big unknown presence, and we can just have a deep feeling of uncertainty. And let's face it, we fear uncertainty, even though the only constant is change in life. But it's not to laugh, but this is the biggest thing. Everything we see around us, nature's always changing. The only thing that doesn't really change is our behaviours across the generations. But anyway, this energy allows us to review our generational dysfunction, what patterns have run in your nations, in your family for decades and generations, and what can you do to change it, not only for the health of your family but for your health, to make your life better and to break yourself free from being a person who may not be you. You may just be a product of your environment and circumstances and life experiences, rather than be a product of the person that has processed their emotional and psychological trauma and takes daily steps to manage it and understand it and become a better sort of like you. The moon also goes into the first quarter moon phase, so it gives us that determination to go within and to work towards our personal transformation, getting real about because the Sun and Neptune coming together. The Sun represents ego, Neptune's our delusions, so delusions in our ego, our self-expression, the way we put ourselves across, the way we don't use our ego, the way we don't stand up for ourselves, the way we may let others walk over us. So this energy allows us to explore new ways of being, learning the lessons of our past so we can make a better, more conscious, intentional future for ourselves and align with your true purpose. This energy of the Sun's conjunction to Neptune can make us idealise situations and people, and this can result in disappointment if our expectations are not met. So, reflect on the situations we're in while we're doing this, and also how we've idolised and pedestal and people-pleased people in the past, and how this has been adversely affected our mental, psychological and physical even health, and how we can stop this from happening in our future. Tapping into the creative, intuitive energy, making time for us to, write, paint, meditate, sing, dance, game, whatever it is that helps you feel a deeper connection to yourself in the spiritual realm. Spiritually, it reminds us of the interconnectedness of all things and encourages us to explore our more spiritual side of ourselves and look after our emotional and psychological health, and just allowing ourselves to tap into the innate wisdom of ourselves and the universe, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and sensitive, but also having compassion for ourselves and others who may be vulnerable at this time. We just have to watch out also by being influenced by other people's emotions and intentions, and set those healthy boundaries and stay true to ourselves over this time. People can try and walk over our boundaries, or we may want to escape and be hurt and abused, because Neptune rules our addictions, toxic relationships and toxic self-harm behaviours, and we all self-harm. Some of us physically do it, a lot of us emotionally and psychologically do it by procrastinating, self-sabotaging and engaging in relationships and activities that are bound to bring us pain. So just looking into the ways that we self-sabotage and being open to healing ourselves and grounding ourselves as well in logic, but also nurturing ourselves with self-care, and just watching out for being misled by deceptive influences and the tendency to want to be hurt at this time, and looking into ways you can just be more open to self-healing, understanding, forgiveness and awareness, and of course love. On the 18th of March, the moon enters void, of course. So when the moon enters void, of course, it happens 2 to 4 times a week. Some astrologers say it's best for us to put off important things, allowing ourselves to gain clarity and make important decisions. It's a great time for creative activities and just taking time out from the hustle and bustle. It may not be the best time to have meetings and negotiate right now, but we may not be able to put off everything, because as I said, this happens 2 and 3 times a week. But taking some time out to self-reflect, just to tell yourself you love yourself, and to just listen to yourself and your needs, and to prioritise your self-care, relaxation and rejuvenation can help you, stay focused throughout the week and recharge your batteries as time goes on. On the 19th of March, Mercury makes a conjunction to the moon's north node, and the moon also enters Cancer as well. So the moon in Cancer can make us moody and sensitive towards criticism narcissism and needy as well and clingy, so we need to respect other people's boundaries and to just try and I don't want you to not be triggered, but understand you may be triggered, and just be gentle with yourself and others and forgiving, because people may not be intentionally trying to trigger you. The best use of the Moon in Cancer energy is to focus on self-care and nurturing the emotional needs of yourself and others in healthy ways, as well as taking time out to look after your physical home or your emotional and psychological home, taking time to journal and doing things that bring you comfort and emotional stability. If you want to know more about what to do while the moon's in the constellation of Cancer, check out the separate audio in the playlist. Mercury's conjunction to the North Node helps us to get to the root of our feelings and communicate our ideas. Effectively, we can express ourselves more logically and concisely, so this is good for negotiations, marketing and sales talk. It helps us to be more curious and have a thirst for deep learning and being aware to research and take time out to learn and relearn the things we need to expand our knowledge. Negatively, Mercury's conjunction to the Moon's North Node can make us overthink, and this can lead to miscommunications and misunderstanding and just general moodiness in how we receive words or other receives our actions and words as well. So it's just best to reduce conflict. Apologise if you are in the wrong. Accept apologies. Try and diffuse any tension. The best use of this energy is to focus on any projects or any activity that needs you to be clear and concise in your communication, and also, studying, having meaningful conversations, and aligning your ideas and thoughts with your psychological and intellectual or spiritual beliefs, allowing yourself to be open to new perspectives and insights that come up. During this time, it allows us to explore the connection between our thoughts, words and inner truth, and how the quality of our relationships are our relationships fading because of our lack of mutual communication, or is it you that don't understand, and how can you be more productive and effective in listening and understanding what others mean as well. It allows you to just be more curious and just open to everything that will help you grow, especially when it comes to your communication skills. On the 20th of March there's the spring equinox, and Mercury makes a conjunction to Chiron, so I've done a whole separate audio about the specifics of the spring equinox, but in general the spring equinox symbolises new beginnings, growth, rejuvenation. We can experience a surge in our motivation because the spring is the time on the esoteric and even on the materialistic level to see nature blooming. So this is time to bloom our ideas, write them down and take the practical steps over March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, as we go through the summer and autumn equinoxes to reap our rewards of our daily actions. So to start new projects or plans, leave the old, start the new, but do it with a conscious attitude and with a plan, and being gentle with yourself. We can become impatient and restless in making these changes, so it's just important to slow yourself down and use the energy of the spring equinox to really continue or start and push and focus on your personal growth and your psychological, emotional and psychological healing. The spring equinox gives us the opportunity to align or realign ourselves with nature cycles, taking stock of our progress in life so far and make the necessary changes to achieve our goals. And I know it can be hard, especially if you feel stuck, you feel like you don't have enough money and time, but some people have written best-selling books, just writing 5 minutes a day. It may have taken 5-10 years for them to get there, but the message is that if you're prepared to spend that minute, that 2 minute, whatever you've got, 10 seconds to just better your life, whether it's your emotional health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your psychological health, your financial health, this energy wants us to understand on the symbolic, esoteric, spiritual level. The spring equinox is a time of balance and harmony. It represents the balance between light and dark. The day and night tends to be sort of like equal-ish lengths, whereas the summer solstice, we have the longest level of day and the shortest level of night. The winter solstice, we have the shortest level of day and the longest level of night. So nature, if we're open to listening to it, shows us how life works within and without ourselves, and by paying attention we can sort of repair the relationship with ourselves and others, and just change our mindset to one that increases our motivation, avoids burnout, can uplift our mood and boost our overall well-being because we've taken the time out to heal ourselves. The longer days of sunlight, if you suffer from SAD, seasonal affective disorder, can promote feelings of happiness and vitality of the day, and the sun gets sort of longer. We emerge out of winter and we want to maybe go outside more and have more celebrations, and the summer's coming in, barbecues outdoor, or just camping on your own, or spending time with your lovers, your friends and families. It's a time when friendships can be restarted and new relationships can be formed, as a sense of working together and collaborating can permeate the air. Culturally, lots of people across the culture celebrate the spring and also the autumn equinox as well, because the spring equinox is seen as a time of renewal, rebirth and fertility, reminding us of the cyclic nature of life, the circle of life and the interconnectedness of all beings and things. And some people use dance and rituals and all the rest of it to get in touch with the energies of the spring equinox. If you want to know more about the rituals and what to do and the specific astrology, sabin symbols and aspects and all of that, check out the in-depth version that I've done, what's available in the playlist or the link. Also today, Mercury makes a conjunction to Chiron, so this helps us to heal through communication, listening to our thoughts, listening to others, and just resolving any conflict and tension that comes up. It enables us to express our deepest wounds and vulnerabilities, so good for self-help or talking to a therapist, or just having meaningful and authentic conversations with others who you can trust, and as you have empathy and compassion for each other, and just maybe make a plan to start a healing journey together or support each other on a healing journey. And remember that even though you may be working in teams or groups or as a couple, each person is accountable for their own individual actions. So yes, we can support each other, but we can't do anyone else's inner work for them. We can only do our own inner work, and this is why a lot of the time when we help people, it can become toxic because they can become dependent on us, because that need to change has to come from within. We have to think, I want to and need to change to be able to follow it through. And unless that realization, in my experience, is felt on a deeper level, it can be hard for people to sort of change. So just getting real with yourself about what it takes for you to change your life and to get out of your emotional discomfort, and to allow yourself to have more understanding and clarity within, and to be open to healing your psychological, spiritual and emotional suffering, giving you time over years, a lifetime to process and understand your unresolved suffering, and learning ways to manage it so that you can live your best life. Mercury's conjunction to Chiron, which is exactly there at the time of the spring equinox, helps us to uncover hidden pain and trauma that's holding us back from planting those new seeds, from harvesting our rewards in the summer solstice and autumn equinox, and releasing what we need to release in the winters of our life, which is represented every month by the full moon in astrology. There is a time for everything, a time of release. So Mercury's conjunction to Chiron helps us to reflect on how our past experiences and unresolved trauma shaped our beliefs and the way we live our life and our thought and behaviour patterns, and it wants us to let go of limiting beliefs and negative self-talk, because it does start in the mind. That's getting in the way of your personal growth, and by bringing your awareness to your self-destructive patterns and thoughts, you can work towards transforming them and develop a more compassionate and empathetic mindset towards yourself and others. Ultimately, this energy of Mercury conjunct Chiron helps us to get to the root causes of our psychological, emotional and spiritual trauma, and unless we do this, we're never going to really resolve our issues, and especially the ways that we run to our addictive substances and relationships. So this energy allows us to approach our vulnerabilities and pains with understanding and self-compassion, awareness, love, understanding and forgiveness as well. On the 21st of March, the moon enters the gibberish moon phase. The moon void, of course, starts at 9:57 a.m. The moon also enters Leo at 7:57 p.m. The sun makes a set star to Pluto, and Venus makes a conjunction to Saturn. So there's a lot going on. So if you want to know more about the moon void, of course, the moon in Leo and the gibberish moon, check out the separate audio in the playlist. But ultimately, the gibberish moon is a time to stay focused and determined and let go of the things we need to let go of, continue that work, and reminds us that to complete the work that we need to do to reach our goals as well, and to manage our emotions and not get overwhelmed by the work that we still have to do, and it gives us the energy to just push on through and complete things. The moon in Leo increases our self-confidence and self-expression, but it can make us seek too much external validation, and this can get in the way of relationships, as each person in the relationship may try and get the attention or steal praise from others and all that and demand it and all of that. But ultimately, the moon in Leo boosts our creativity and allows us to, just be more confident within ourselves and allow others to do so as well. The sun set star to Pluto can just increase our sense of power and influence. It helps us to sort of be assertive and stand up for ourselves, but it can just make people get lost in power struggles, as intense emotions can cause tension. We may not think about the things that we do and say, and we may just do things without thinking about the consequences, and this can cause really bad consequences, as we may overstand people's boundaries or break rules at the worst end of the energy of what can happen. But ultimately, this energy wants us to do the inner work, and it supports us dealing with intensity without being overwhelmed. If we channel this energy effectively and use it for personal development, embracing our own truth, delving, digging deep into our own psyche, letting go of old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve us, and repair conflicts in relationships and challenge authority in the right and assertive way, without pushing boundaries that can make you face legal consequences or just adverse consequences like losing your job or something like that. So ultimately, on the spiritual level, it wants us to rediscover our authentic self, our true passions in life. It can be a time of spiritual rebirth, and we can, get more in touch with our inner child and our authentic self-expression. It encourages us to dig into the mysteries of life and question why we believe the things we do, why we have the friends and the relationships we do, are they healthy relationships. We can get deep into our inner psychology. Pluto energy is always good to get to the depths of financial problems, working out joint finances, taking out life insurance policies and stuff like that as well, and confronting death in the ways, because sunset star in Pluto, so it can make us more open and make it easier for us to talk about death and the things we normally hide away from in life, and it can bring awareness to our buried emotions, fears and desires, and allow for us to heal, and just empowers us to integrate our shadow self into our overall personal expression, and just be more consciously aware of our shadow and negative traits and our weaknesses. And by doing so and taking action, we can develop them into strengths and find ways to channel our energies, because aggression is, it's not bad, it's neutral, but how we channel, how we use this aggression is, the key. Do we use it to reach our goals? Do we take it out on others? Do we use it to manipulate others, steal from others? It's not the energy, it's what we do with that energy. So Venus's conjunction to Saturn allows for us to take responsibility for our life growth in all areas, from spiritual to financial, and commit to whatever we need to commit to at this time as well. It gives us a sense of patience and perseverance, allowing us to be more self-disciplined in whatever we go after, but especially in the realms of higher consciousness and refining, changing our values, and being open to other people's perspectives and getting out of our comfort zone. Venus conjunct Saturn brings a focus to commitment and relationships and our personal values, so a lot of conversations around these areas can come up over this time as well. It wants us to take more realistic actions and practical, taking a more practical approach to how we go about love, bringing love, avoiding burnout, managing our relationships and going after our creative expression and spending time in the things that we actually like doing as well and our hobbies. Although Venus's conjunction to Saturn can bring a sense of seriousness or restriction in matters of the heart and our love and our self-love, whatever happens now is trying to make us build more stability and security in our emotional connections, and yeah, it may take one away from us, but ultimately that connection may not be healthy for us on a deeper level in the first instance anyway. So ultimately today's energies bring the focus into our relationships, commitment, as well as the healthy expression of our personal power and being open to healing ourselves from the inside out. So yeah, on the 22nd of March, there's nothing to report. On the 23rd of March, the moon void, of course, starts at 3:22 p.m. So yeah, that's the end of this weekly Scopes from the 17th to the 23rd of March 2024.